Welcome to your yoga practice. My name is Ginevra, and this is my husband, Josh. We are going to have a practice today focused on opening up the front of your body. So I'm going to have everybody start sitting on your heels, or you can sit between your heels on a block. So Josh is going to show. When he points his toes and sits on his heels, will you point your toe? And there's a big space there in front of his ankles, and it's really tight. And so we have a blanket that he is rolling up. He's going to put in front of his ankles. So if that's you, you can try that too. And then you'll sit onto your heels. And today, to settle into our practice, we are going to try alternate nostril breathing. So for this, you'll need one block, and you can place the block on the dominant side of your body. So if you're right-handed, you'll put it on your right thigh. You'll take your right hand and you'll fold the first two fingers down. And then you'll use the pinky finger and the thumb to close off the nostrils. So when we practice alternate nostril breathing, we want to be soft with the nose. We don't want to move the septum back and forth. So you're lightly pressing where the crease of the nose is, and then and you release. And so you shouldn't feel any sort of movement in the nose. There's a pressure point to the crease of the nose that can release your sinuses if they're clogged as well. So when you're ready, you're going to gently close the right side of your nostrils. You'll take an inhale through your left, close the left, exhale through the right. Inhale through the right, close the right, and exhale through the left. Inhale left, close left, and exhale right. And you'll just keep going back and forth for the next minute, linking the right and left side of the body and allowing the mind to settle into the body. If you'd like, you can close your eyes or you can find a place to gaze. Maybe feeling how nice the breath feels flowing in and out of the nose. For the next 30 seconds, if you like, you can start to move into Samavriti, equal inhale, equal exhale. Inhale for 3, and exhale for 3. At the bottom of your next round, you can release your hand from your nose and place the block next to you on the floor. Take your time. And then you'll bring your hands to your thighs and we'll massage the top of the thighs. So you can just kind of rock from side to side, massaging with the heels of your hands up and down your legs. Taking note of any places that feel tight or tender. For the next shape, we'll take a wrist stretch. So for this one, you'll make your way into tabletop. Hands and knees. Bring your knees underneath your hips and your wrist underneath your shoulders. And then we're going to start to rotate the arms so that the fingertips point towards the knees. You can do this one hand at a time if you want, or you can do both. And then once you have your hands positioned, you'll rock your hips forward and backward, stretching the wrists. Some of you will prefer to try to flip the palms over so that the back of the hands are on the floor. And if you'd like to do that, you can do that one hand at a time, or you can do it two hands at a time. And then gently release your hands. You can kneel on your shins and shake the hands out. Our next shape is dragon pose. We're going to take 3 variations of dragon today. The first variation is high dragon. So for this one, you'll step your right foot forward and bring both hands to the top of your right thigh, as close to the thigh crease as you can. Try to see if you can get your hips, your left hip over your left knee and your right knee over your right ankle. And then lift the pubic bone up so that the shoulders are over the hips. Should be feeling a nice hip flexor stretch here. And if you're not, you can try engaging the left glute. We'll be here for 1 minute. While we're in dragon, I'm going to invite you to practice inhaling for 3 and exhaling for 6. When we start to make our exhale longer than our inhale, it is a way to shift the body into rest, digest, and repair. The parasympathetic nervous system. Good. Gently bring both hands to the inside of your right foot and scoot your left knee back as far as you can on your mat. You have the option to stay here on the palms, or you have the option to lower onto the forearms. You can use blocks as a way to bring the ground closer to you. I'll be here for 1 minute. You can control the intensity of this shape by how much you let your hips come forward. So if it's feeling too strong, you can shift the hips back a little bit. Or if you want more intensity, you can let the hips come forward. Josh is practicing on a padded rug, and so he doesn't have knee support for his back leg. But if you're practicing on a harder surface, you can always take your blanket and place it underneath your knee. Inhale for 3 and exhale for 6. You're welcome to stay here in the slow dragon if you're enjoying it. But if you want to try twisted dragon, you can take your arms off the blocks, bring both hands to the floor. Roll to the outside edge of your right foot and turn your chest to the right as you place your right hand on your right hip. See if you can draw that right shoulder blade into your left back pocket. Breathe in and out of your nose. Inhale 3, exhale 6. If the wrist gets tired, you can always lower onto the forearm using a block. Continue to draw the shoulder blades down the back and lift the sternum up. Take an inhale, and at the bottom of your next exhale, gently de-rotate your body and come back to tabletop. In tabletop, feel free to move around, maybe in a cat-cow or any movement that feels good. Child's pose is a favorite for some. And then when you're ready, we're going to take this on the second side. So you'll move your hands to the right side of the mat and your left foot will come forward, moving into high dragon. You can walk both hands to the top of your left thigh. Try to get the shoulders over the hips and tuck the pubic bone upward. If you're not feeling a stretch, you can engage the right glute and see if that helps. Breathe in for 3 and out for 6. And as you're breathing, see if you can keep the breath into the belly and diaphragm area. At the bottom of your next exhale, gently bring both hands down to the mat and scoot your right knee back. Scoot it as far back as you can, and then lower onto your forearms if you choose. You can always use the blocks to bring the ground closer to you. Remember, you can control the intensity of this by how much you let your hips move forward or backward. You can stay here, or if you'd like to move into twisted dragon, you can come onto your hands, set the blocks to the side. Place your right hand on the mat flat and turn your body towards the left. You can place the left hand on the left hip, drawing the left shoulder blade into the right back pocket. Inhale for 3 and exhale for 6. Take an inhale, and at the bottom of your next exhale, gently de-rotate. And we're going to make our way into Sphinx. So Josh is going to scoot up a little closer to the wall so he's on the camera all the way. And you can come onto your abdomen with the elbows underneath the shoulders. In this pose, you might choose to stay with the legs straight, or maybe you will bend the legs, widen the knees slightly, and rest the feet together. If that causes you any sort of pinching in your low back, then you can re-straighten the legs. Option to look straight forward or option to look down. And if you look down, some people like to put a block underneath their forehead for support. We'll be here for 3 minutes. In this shape, I'm going to invite you to breathe lightly in and out of your nose. So you want to see if you can breathe as small and quiet as possible, feeling your abdomen moving with your breath. The sequence that we're doing today, opening the front of the body, can help improve the posture, the effects of rounding forward while sitting. It can open up the chest. It can improve digestion by releasing tension in the abdominal organs or in the digestive, the lower abdomen, in the intestines. This can relieve bloating and constipation. And also chest stretches can offer emotional relief. We're at the halfway mark here. If at any point having the legs lifted feels like too much, you can always lower them down. And if you're getting a pinch in your low back, you can always roll the heels away from one another, rolling the inner thighs upward towards the ceiling. If the head gets fatigued, you can place a block underneath the forehead. For the last minute, if you'd like to move into seal pose, you can make sure your hands are in front of your elbows and then straighten the arms. This is going to increase your sense of stretch in the abdomen. So press into the palms and straighten the arms. There you go. Now, if you lift up and this feels too strong for you today, no big deal. You can just lower the arms back down. And if you're finished doing Sphinx, you can always lay down in a downward Shavasana. Draw the shoulders down the back and lift the sternum up. And then find the breath. Soft, slow breaths in and out of the nose. At the bottom of your exhale, gently lower all the way down. Make a pillow for your head with your hands, bend your legs, and rock your legs from side to side. Our next shape is a side lying twist. So for this, you'll need to have a blanket folded as a pillow and your bolster. You can always use 2 blankets if you prefer a little bit more height. So you're going to come to lay on your right side with the bolster in between the legs, and you want your knees and your feet to be on the bolster. Stack your palms and then gently start to twist open to the left. Option to look to the right, up at the ceiling, or over the left shoulder. This should be a pretty good stretch in your chest. And if you have a little tension in your chest, your arm may not come down to the ground, and that's okay. But if you don't like that feeling, you can always bend your left arm and rest your hand on your rib cage. In this shape, I'll offer box breathing. If you'd like, you can inhale for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 4, and hold for 4. Imagine your breath moving up and across, down, and across the side of a box. At the bottom of your next breath cycle, gently roll to lay on your right side. And then we'll counter this by going to the second side. So you'll just roll. You can take your bolster with your hand to help. Stack the palms. Make sure your feet and your knees are on the bolster. And then you'll gently twist open to the right. You can choose where to place your gaze. And the idea is that we're trying to feel a chest stretch. With these one-sided shapes, it's really nice to notice the difference from one side of your body to the other. If you are enjoying box breathing, you can return to it. Inhaling for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 4, and hold for 4. At the bottom of your next breath cycle, gently roll to lay on your left side. And then we're going to make our way onto our back. You won't need any head support for this one. And you will need one block. So our last yin shape for this practice is pontoon. So to take this, you'll need one or two blocks depending on your hip flexor and flexibility. So you'll lift your hips up and you'll place one block underneath the hips on the widest setting. And then you'll extend your right leg and you can hug your left leg into your chest. You should feel a big stretch in the front of your right thigh. If it feels like a strong stretch, find your breath and try to make your exhale longer than your inhale. Maybe you're ready to try to play with inhaling for 5 and exhaling for 10. If you like with the lifted leg, you can take ankle circles. We're going to start to switch sides. So you can gently switch your legs as you're ready. Take your time. Honoring this side of the body and any differences that might be there in the legs. And so for this side, you can play with that longer exhale, but if you'd like to add another layer, when you inhale, you can say to yourself, I'm grateful for. And when you exhale, you can think of something, someone, a place, an experience that you are grateful for. And while you're doing that gratitude practice, you can also take those ankle circles if you want to balance things out on this side. Inhale, I'm grateful for, and exhale, something that you're grateful for. Gently start to release your leg and bring both feet to the floor. To remove the block, you're going to engage the bottom of the buttocks where the hamstrings and buttocks meet. Lift the hips and slide the block out. Hug your legs into your chest and rock from side to side. We'll be setting ourselves up for a rest. And so for Shavasana, I encourage you to place a blanket underneath your head as a pillow. And for today, I'm going to invite you to take your legs as wide away from each other as you can, long on the mat, and take your arms out to the side so that you have space underneath your armpits. Try to roll the arms so the thumbs roll towards the floor. You can stay in Shavasana for as long as you have time. I will guide you in, and then I will close the class. Soften your toes, soften the bottoms of your feet, soften your ankles, soften your calves, soften your knees, soften your thighs, soften your hips and your glutes, abdomen and low back, soften your chest and your upper back. Soften the fingers, palms of the hands, forearms, biceps, and shoulders. Let the front of your neck soften and the tongue move upward towards the top of the mouth. Jaw is soft, eyes are soft, forehead is soft. Let your entire body rest. What you do for yourself, you do for others, and what you do for others, you do for yourself. And you cannot pour from an empty cup. Thank you for allowing me to guide you in this practice. I bow to you.